And welcome to a Tuesday, November 26th edition of Established Run NBA Injury Analysis Show. My name is Michael Lockie. I'm proud to be here with Mike Gallagher. Mike, how you doing on this Tuesday?
Doing great. Excited to get this going here. Two mics time. Should be a fun little show here. Nice
Two
little
bikes in the
easy slate.
afternoon.
Yep. Should be a nice little easy slate for us to fire away here. Everybody except for one team is playing tomorrow. That's the Milwaukee Bucks, and also the Celtics aren't playing tomorrow. 14 games on the slate. So yeah, this should be pretty fun. A lot of back-to-back talk. We'll talk a lot about that. And then we have the NBA Cup stuff to talk about too. So we could probably get into that too. As we'll do that as we kind of go through these games about which ones matter and which ones don't.
Absolutely. A little Thanksgiving Eve edition of the NBA tournament. Excited to get there. You ready to get right into Bulls Wizards here?
Yeah, always.
All right. So Bulls injury report. Lonzo Ball doubtful. I'm looking forward to his return eventually. Patrick Williams out. Sonogo out. Taylor Horton-Tucker is going to be in. Julian Phillips probable. What are we doing with the Bulls here?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Lonzo's getting closer, but it's still expected to be a little bit out here as he gets over his wrist injury. But the big news here is a little bit of a rotation change, and it's really been 2 games in a row now that Matas Buzelis' minutes have come up, and he played 29 minutes, a little bit because he was kind of playing well. In the second game, he was really kind of shining. Really 3 games since Patrick Williams went down. The first one, it was the Torrey Craig game, and then 2 games now, Matas Buzelis' minutes have gone up. And Billy Donovan really talked about him as someone who they want to give more minutes to, and he has to rebound more, which is an indication that he's going to be more of a 4. We'll see if they run more small ball stuff. They've done that at times here when Jalen Smith doesn't have it going there. But that's where we're at. Expecting Ayo Dosunmu to continue to start. Obviously, been playing a ton here, and this is obviously a game with horrendous defense. The Bulls are allowing the most points in the NBA, and the Wizards have the worst points per possession. So you get a really fast Bulls team that gives a lot of points, a lot of bad defense in this spot. The Bulls, again, do play tomorrow. We'll see how they handle this thing. There was some notes last time they played in a back-to-back that they were going to try to ease the minutes a little bit. And we saw like Taylor Horton-Tucker kind of pop up out of nowhere. This was in the back-to-back. So I think they're going to be possibly normal. It is a cup game. They're pretty dead. But this rotation could be pretty strong and pretty tight for a lot of fantasy output. As I mentioned, the Wizards are really bad defensively.
Yeah, this team is so fun for best ball bags. Love to see the Buzelis action. Such a great talking point all year. Love to see it. So over to the Washington side, Saddiq Bey still out. Justin Champagnie in the G League. Jordan Poole questionable. That's going to be the big one here. What are we doing, or what do we think Jordan Poole's looking like going into today?
Yeah, didn't get much input on Poole. This is the same reason why he missed over the weekend. This is a back-to-back, and now every team is going to be a back-to-back, so I don't have to keep saying it pretty much the rest of the way here, except for the Bucks when we get there. So, don't have a great read. Again, they might play him today, sit him tomorrow. I'm not sure. Doesn't sound like it's serious, but if he did miss this one, they did go with Keyshawn George in the last game. Would expect that to continue here, as it seems like, as I mentioned it last week, Brian Keefe was pretty upset with the way they were playing, and I mentioned there was a lineup change coming, and that lineup change turned out to be Malcolm Brogdon in place of Bub Carrington. Should note the offense has been really bad with Malcolm Brogdon. It's like a 93 offensive rating, or I think it's 96 offensive rating, and it's 93 minutes, so it hasn't really gone well, but they seem to like him. We know Brogdon can kind of do the drive and kick game, all that good stuff. So expecting Brogdon to start regardless, and then it would be Keyshawn George starting if Poole can't go, and then Poole will be back in there if he can. But I kind of think they might sit him here and then play him on the back end. They play somebody, I think. Well, they play somebody better tomorrow for sure. Yeah, they play the Clippers tomorrow. So, hey, you want to tank it, right? Rather sit him here, play your young guys, and then, hey, Poole, who, pardon the jokes, Poole could still play when he's on. So, I think it makes sense to sit him today and then play him tomorrow if they are playing that game with a hip flexor. And it's listed as a strain. So I think he's got a decent chance to miss. That would open up more minutes for Corey Kispert. And then we'll see if Jared Butler sneaks in there. But it will be more handling for Bilal Coulibaly, Malcolm Brogdon. And then also should note, too, Alex Sarr's minutes have really come up the last 2 games. So he's kind of playing well. the best matchup, the worst rim defense. The centers have been killing Vooch. So this could be Alex Sark coming off his best career game in a great matchup. Maybe he could keep it going here.
Definitely. The rookies are starting to emerge a little bit. Jordan Poole is a little bit of an interesting one here. I could see him sitting again, like you said. So interesting to see that. We're going to move on to Milwaukee and Miami now. The daunted probable tag for Giannis. Loom large here. Middleton's still out here. Taurean Prince probable. What are we thinking about Giannis? Is this an actual probable tag, or what are you thinking?
Well, this is the first time he was listed with this. He's been getting listed with that patella knee thing over the course of the season, but now it's listed with the calf. So it's a little bit of a I don't know. But as we talked about on the podcast, Dink and I mentioned, this game's huge. This is one of the biggest games on the NBA Cup schedule. So there's a chance, A, I think he's playing, and B, he could play a lot. Like, I wanted to push his minutes up to 36 and a half, 37. We got him at 36. So should be good to go. And as I've been saying, they don't play tomorrow. So they're pretty much ready to rock. They'll have 2 days off for the Thanksgiving break here. So you could see pretty elevated minutes here. And we're starting to get a pretty good feel for this rotation. The starting lineup's been the same. Andre Jackson's been playing a little bit better. Minutes aren't high. And they ask a lot of minutes off the bench from A.J. Green, Gary Trent Jr., and Bobby Portis as well. So, yeah, we've got a pretty good grasp on this 9-man rotation. Pat Connaughton's dead. For now, DeLon Wright looks to his taking care of Ryan Rollins, who was available and didn't play. So I think we got a pretty good grip on this 9-man, but it's Doc Rivers. That could change pretty quickly.
Yeah, the other story here with this game is that Miami's just owned Milwaukee for so long in the playoffs that, since there is some extra meaning to this game, I'm curious how it plays out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving over to the Miami side. Haywood Highsmith is available. Nikola Jovic is available. Probable tag on Terry Rozier. Drew Smith questionable. How is Miami going to shake out?
Yeah, so we don't know. This was by far the toughest team to project. Terry Rozier has missed like a week, and he was playing really poorly. He was one of the most inefficient pick-and-roll players in the league. So I don't think it's a lock that Terry Rozier starts, considering the matchup, too, that you, A, need a ball handler on defense, and you need a little bit of size to protect the paint. So not very sure about the Terry Rozier kind of like regaining his starting job from a foot injury that could, linger, could cap him, all that good stuff. And then also Tyler Hero's been playing great. Jimmy Butler kind of came out, off injury and got going quick. We know that he can play a pretty good bit. And then again, really the headline from the weekend was Pelle Larsson, we barely projected over the weekend, and we missed horrendously here as he played 37 minutes, picked up a lot of on-ball defense on Damian Lillard at times. Alec Burks also got talked up from Eric Spoelstra for hitting shots and distributing the ball with some driving kick game. So those guys have really come up, and it's been at the expense of Josh Richardson, who was playing way more than I thought. Jaime Hawkins didn't play a lot. Haywood Highsmith didn't play a bunch. Duncan Robinson lost some minutes. So this is, again, really tough to project. We don't really have any confidence who's going to be in the back end of this rotation. If you made me pick, I would say Josh Richardson's out. And I would say I think that despite Pelle Larsson playing so many minutes, I think he's barely in there with Josh Richardson kind of taking his role, because I think they need size. You need to have somebody out there big enough to guard Giannis. They do a lot of the Bam on Giannis, Jovic on Brooks stuff over the years. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jovic, who got cut in this game, could come back to life. I kind of doubt he starts, but I have no feel. I feel pretty good Haywood Highsmith's going to start. But like I said, I could see them starting Jimmy Butler, playing Jovic, playing somebody else, playing Love or something to do that flip-flop matchup. I have zero confidence in who Eric Spoelstra, not only is going to start, but who their kind of 7th, 8th, 9 man, I guess I would say 8th, 9 man, 10th man are going to be in this rotation. It is a complete mess.
I'll let you save the answer for this for the 5 o'clock show, but I'd be curious what Terry Rozier's usage looks like in the second unit, if that changes things for him at all. So we're going to move on from there. 8 o'clock game, 8 o'clock Eastern rather, Houston, Minnesota. On the Houston side, Steven Adams still out. Questionable tag on Jalen Green. That's going to be the big one here. What is looking like the rotation going to be for the Rockets?
Yeah, so the green tag's weird, right? We saw him get tagged with an illness on Wednesday and then not get tagged on the doubleheader on Friday, Saturday. So really weird to get an illness tag, 2 not getting one, and then 1 getting one. So I think he's okay. But yeah, so the headline here is this is a cup game. This is one of the biggest cup games let me get the standings up here because they're playing the Wolves, and the Rockets are in really good position here as I'll pull this up. They are 2-0, and if they get this win, it's over. They're 3-0. The only team that could, potentially, like they've beaten the Blazers, would have beaten the Wolves, they've already beaten the Clippers, so that it's over. The only team they haven't played is Sacramento, who's 0-2. So if they win this game, they got the cup. They're advancing out of Group A, and they'll have a fantastic. They're probably playing home court. Like they're going to have a really, really good point differential. So this game is big stakes, one of the biggest on the day. So I'm expecting them to play a lot of minutes. Like Chris and I were doing the minutes, and we were just trying to push him up. Like we have 35 and a half Fred VanVleet minutes, and like I think he's going to beat the hell out of those minutes. We've seen Fred VanVleet play a lot there. So, but yeah, going back to I don't have a great feel on Green, like I kind of already alluded to there. So it could be pretty tight. Obviously, Amen and Tari are playing a lot of minutes off the bench, and that's going to stick. A lot of talk from Udoka, which I've talked about there. So this rotation could get a little bit tighter. It could be a 8-man where they almost cut Reed Shepherd out. I wouldn't be surprised because this is one of the biggest games of the year for them. So yeah, the value's not great, although the Wolves defense has been a little bit worse overall. But I think this rotation is going to be quite tight in a big game for them.
Also, before we went live here, you had mentioned Cam Whitmore on the possible G League assignment, so that should affect things a little bit.
Yeah, he's already dead, but they're playing Reed Shepherd for now, and Whitmore will be back in there soon. But for now, he wasn't going to play. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Reed Shepherd doesn't play today. I think they really have a playoff kind of rotation today.
That's exactly. I was going to mention the playoff type of atmosphere. That seems like something a rookie wouldn't mind getting cut for, and it's not going to hurt his feelings at all in his development. Mm-hmm. So that's a good call. Yeah. All right, switching over to the Minnesota side here. The big Q tag on Mike Conley, another one on Joe Ingles, possibly filling some minutes here. What are we thinking here for Minnesota?
Yeah, I don't know. They're on a back-to-back again. Every team is besides the Bucks, but I don't know. Like they're gonna sit in one of these two games, right? It is a cup game. I mentioned, they're playing Houston. If they want to have a cup chance, they got to win this one. So I joked that like Conley's worth 10 points on the spread, so I think he could play if he's healthy. But like they clearly play, like he has a great toe sprain. So is it turf toe? Did he just like hurt his toe mildly? Is it something that's going to linger? I don't know. But either way, there's a pretty good chance he sits. And if he sits, the starting question is interesting because 2 games ago it was Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and then surprisingly it was Dante DiVincenzo. After the game, Chris Finch said it was matchup based, which kind of is weird. Like you think you'd want Nickeil Alexander-Walker for wing on-ball defense against the Celtics and kind of have your defense run that way. I don't know. Maybe they want to get Dante going. Maybe they wanted to just have Nickeil in his normal role to let him thrive in that role. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that. Point is, I don't have a really great feel for who would start. I would guess it would be Dante again, I guess. But they played Boston pretty tough, so I feel pretty good about that. And then obviously, if Conley's out, then Rob Dillingham, who played pretty well in this game, would be in the rotation again for sure. So yeah, don't have a great read on Conley, but would not be surprised. I'm very confident he's missing one of these 2 games, but which one is a little bit unclear. I kind of think he just sits out both of them, honestly.
Fair enough. A little pivot at the end. Mr. Mike's getting old. Understandable there. Yep. All right. Let's move on to the Spurs and Utah here. Keldon Johnson probable. That is the big one for the Spurs. Sohan and Vassell still out. How are we looking at this rotation?
Yeah, so Vassell's going to be out today and then should be back tomorrow. This is the same knee injury that he hurt 2 years ago when he had surgery on it. Obviously, he was out in the preseason and the first 2 weeks of the season for a stress reaction in his foot. So he should be back tomorrow. That's the expectation from the team. So as you mentioned there, Keldon Johnson, 1 game off for hamstring. Is pretty unusual, so I wouldn't put too much stock in that probable tag. I think he's probably in for sure. So that's going to move. It's going to squeeze somebody in the rotation. One of, I would say, Sandro Mamakavashvili, Malachi Branham, and Blake Wesley are going to be kind of pushed out. We're not sure. It was kind of Mamu before. Mamu was like barely playing when Keldon was playing, but they might run a little bit different. So not a lot of confidence there on who's out, but Julian Champagne's upside would come a little bit down. Stephen Castle's minutes, I think, are locked. I mean, Mitch Johnson continues to talk about Stephen Castle's impact on the offensive end. So he's kind of locked and loaded, especially like Vassell could potentially cut him down, but Keldon wouldn't be enough to cut him down. So that's kind of the rotation there. Zach Collins will be in behind Wemby, who returned over the weekend. Played great, played 34 minutes. He's kind of back out of nowhere playing a ton. So pretty clear they were just kind of being careful with him off his minor injury there. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And then last but not least, man, Harrison Barnes wins Western Conference Player of the Week. I mean, that's got to be one of the craziest Western Conference Player of the Weeks I've ever seen in my whole life.
The stat line was super mild when I looked at it, right? I didn't dig much into like what the competition looked like, but was it just there was nobody else? I don't understand.
Yeah, well, the Thunder only played 2 games that week. That's why they got punished. And then something like the other teams who had big stats like didn't win. Like they really value like having a winning record that week. And like the Spurs had some good wins. So yeah, I guess shout out to Harry B. Like I said, that's completely wild.
Fair enough. All right, over to the Utah side. The big one here, Colin Sexton is available. A bunch of out tags here. Jordan Clarkson out. Filipowski out, Taylor Hendricks out, and Cody Williams down in the G League.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to comment on here for Utah?
Yeah, actually, a good bit to talk about. Kyle Filipowski rolled his ankle a couple games ago, and he's going to remain out. Pretty severe injury there. Maybe, hopefully, just a week. So he'll be out again. And then I think that Clarkson could be just management. We saw him play in the last game on the back end, and he didn't play. So my point here is, I think they're sitting him out. Whether we're front end back for the front end of this, they play tomorrow. So I'm not really worried about him. But for today, the guy who's coming into the rotation for me quite confidently is going to be Bryce Sensabaugh. A lot of talk from Will Hardy saying that they wanted to he's done enough, and being out of the rotation for so long has helped him kind of have confidence in him playing more minutes and all that good stuff. So expect Bryce Sensabaugh, Johnny Juzang, Drew Eubanks, and Isaiah Collier to be the bench unit. And then the other story here is man, Colin Sexton's minutes were really, really strong. Keontae George's minutes weren't that great, but Walker Kessler playing 35 minutes. He's been playing a lot since returning from injury. We kind of dinged him a little bit because he's not usually a guy that plays 30 minutes consistently. John Collins played a ton. Lauri Markkanen's on fire. We took an under on him, betting on him to cool off a little bit there. So yeah, that's kind of your 9-man rotation. If I wasn't clear, the starters I mentioned, and then Eubanks, Clarkson. I'm sorry, not Clarkson. Juzang, Bryce Sensabaugh, and Isaiah Collier are their 9. And then do they play Svi Mikhailuk? If they don't play Svi Mikhailuk, pretty good chance that they're going to run 9, which is great against a defense that's kind of suspect. But yeah, this rotation was really annoying earlier this year, but it's thinning out enough where I think we can feel pretty good. And yeah, Walker Kessler, man, got a note too. The Knicks absolutely destroyed the Nuggets last night, and they got wrecked by the Jazz a couple games ago. So yeah, really nice win for the Jazz against the Knicks over the weekend.
All right, very good stuff. Moving on to the 5th and final game here. Starting on the Lakers side, the Suns side will be exciting when we get to it. But Lakers Suns here, Anthony Davis is probable. Bronny out, Hood Schifino out, Jared Vanderbilt out, and Christian Wood still out. What notes do you have for the Lakers?
Yeah, the story here is Rui Hachimura. He returned, and he did not play a lot. He was really capped, short rotation minutes. We saw him just return from an ankle injury that cost him a week and a half. But you look at the Suns games, and he played 39 minutes in one of the Suns games and 31 minutes in the other one, and he had foul trouble. He had 5 fouls in that game. So my point here is the really range is really wide. If he returned on Saturday, and we've got a couple of days here. It's an ankle sprain, so he doesn't necessarily need a big ramp up, like a hamstring or something along those lines. We'll talk about some calf strains in a second on the Sun side. But the point here is he could be 25, 26 minutes again, or he could be 35 again because they want to put him on Durant. And they don't really have anybody else in this team that can do that. I don't know if they trust Cam Reddish to pick up that role there. So, yeah, really tough to get a clear impact on how Rui Hachimura will fit in this rotation. And then Dalton Connect, obviously coming off the bench. JJ Redick telegraphed that he'll come off the bench again. D'Angelo's minutes are down because Connect's playing so much. Gabe Vincent and Max Christie also kind of carving out some minutes there. And then they also are getting Jackson Hayes back. Went through practice, called probable by JJ. So he'll be back in there. he will resume all the non-Anthony Davis minutes there. I don't think they're going to overlap them today. And then also should note, man, AD was terrible in this game against the Nuggets. JJ Redick said that, it's not really his fault and basically just has bad games. So, yeah, pretty much flush it. AD should get really busy here. He's had some good numbers against the Suns in the course of the season. And then, cup grade. As we've been saying here, the Lakers, they're 2-0. They get this one. They're pretty much set to have the whole ball of wax on the OKC game, assuming OKC can take care of Utah at home. You assume they would. So that can, and look at their point differential. It's right there. So the Lakers need this one because I think they know that that they've got to win out here, and they've got to defend their title, the reigning Emirates NBA Cup champions. But I expect, like I said, I expect a lot of minutes out of AD and LeBron here.
Yep, love to see it. Rui's been back in action. But over on the Sun side here, as I alluded to earlier, Kevin Durant probable, Bradley Beal probable, Colin Giuseppe out. What are we thinking for the rotation here for Phoenix?
So this is, as you noted a second ago, this one's a little bit perhaps the most interesting one in the slate. And what's interesting about it is a couple things. One, the Suns haven't played since Wednesday, so that we've had really no idea on what their ramp up is, all that good stuff. So we know that they ruled them out for like 2 weeks, basically 2 weeks ago, but they've gone through 3 practices, Durant and Beal. So we have a pretty good indication that these guys are going to be pretty healthy here. Kevin Durant's calf injury was the same one they hurt in the Olympics where everyone was like freaking out, but it was never really serious. He never really got hurt like in the game and they just managed him. So there's a chance like Kevin Durant goes out there. I doubt he plays like 38 or something, but like he might play like 35, like right off the bat. I don't think he's that injured. He again going through 3 practices is 5-on-5 included. Their last practice yesterday wasn't like a full-on practice, but they went through all the stuff that they asked, so they're ready to go here. And again, a big game. They got to get off this losing streak. They've been playing terrible without these guys. So I feel pretty good about Durant's minutes. Beal, I don't feel as good. Beal did a media yesterday and was really talking about how like he's injured all the time. He was like kind of joking, like I'm hurt all the time. I know how to recover off injuries. But yeah, he like don't forget before he was ruled out, he thought he was playing the next day. So this wasn't a serious injury. There's a chance they were just like trying to dial back the mileage on these guys, and they run them right back to normal. So yeah, I feel pretty good about those guys playing. I wouldn't say full minutes, but like 85, especially Durant, like 85 minutes. Beal probably a little bit more dicey. Had the elbow injury too, but so expecting those guys to start. I wouldn't be totally shocked if Beal came off the bench, but still would be somewhat shocking. So expect those guys to start. Grayson Allen will still play. Mason Plumlee should still play, considering Oso Ighodaro got absolutely wrecked every time he touches the floor against Anthony Davis. And then we think Josh Okogie, Royce O'Neal will be in there for the majority of the rotation. Should note, man, FanDuel lined Josh Okogie insanely high for what we expected. We took an under on him. So if FanDuel knows something we don't, then well, we're in trouble. But that was a wild line to see because Okogie may not be in the rotation at all. He has been playing great. I think he's going to play a little bit, though. I should mention Ryan Dunn also should be in the rotation and mention him.
All right, excellent. I believe that covers all the games for today. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we hit an intro here?
Yeah, no, we could head into the intro and the conclusion here to close us out. Yeah, but tomorrow's going to be nuts. We got a 14 gamer. That'll be one of the craziest shows on the whole season. Again, everyone except the Celtics and Bucks are going to play. And then, it'll be me and Dink. We'll be flying through that as fast as we can. Everybody except for the Bucks is playing tomorrow. So we've got a lot of back-to-backs. We'll be guessing a lot of injury reports. It's going to be crazy. So, yeah, big NBA Cup day. I expect guys to ramp up minutes, and they could kind of dial them back. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow for sure. And for those of you guys who are subscribers, we appreciate you guys. Looking to bounce back. We had a really nasty day on the props yesterday. We'll get back on track today. So check us out behind the paywall for our player prop sub and our DFS package. Still going. We'll have a sale for that for you guys who aren't subscribing in Christmas. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, yeah, this is great. Any thoughts from you? How do you think I think you crushed it.
No, I did very subpar. I was very nervous. Our transitions were horrible. I have a lot to work on personally, but I promise it can only get better from here. But if you're still listening to this, please hit the like and subscribe button. especially if you're new here for me. I really appreciate everybody tuning in, and thank you to ETR for giving me a chance.
For sure. And you guys should know, I was working all morning. Like, we came in cold. I was like, "Hey, Mike, nice to meet you. Like, let's do the show." So
it's weird when you listen to somebody else and they've never listened to you. So like, I kind of understand you because I've listened to you enough, but like, we've never had a conversation before in our life, literally until we got on air here. So that'll get better, I promise.
No doubt, no doubt. So yeah, great job. Appreciate everyone. We'll be back tomorrow. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks again. Catch you guys next time.